gentlemen, our fifth question, and we will open this time with Republican challenger Bob Gibbs, who will then go to Lindsey, Sutton, and back to Zack Space. This question, again, comes from the audience, and it says, how do you make a case for voting to benefit this district and your constituents, not based on political and party ideology?
Well, I'm running for Congress because I'm concerned about the future of this country, the economic future, and we got to get jobs back. So I'm going to vote to cut the deficit spending, lower the taxes that they're increasing, and also fight for common sense regulations, and that will restore that confidence and get people back to work. And that's what I'm going to do. And if the party leadership doesn't want to do that, because I'd be surprised if my party doesn't want to do that, because we already did a pledge to America saying that we're going to do that. We're going to restore that confidence and get people back to work. And that's what it's all about. Because if we don't get people back to work, this country's in big trouble. We've got to get people back to work and get this economy going. And we can't keep borrowing money and spending money we don't have. It's a national security issue. We're borrowing money from China. And it's the second reason it's a national security issue, because more and more of the revenues that do come in the federal government have to go to service that debt. So that's less money that we have to spend for discretionary spending. And you know what? Defense is kind of discretionary spending when you think about it. And you know, how did we end the Cold War and defeat the former Soviet Union? We didn't fire a shot. We bankrupted it. And ironically, we're doing the same thing to ourselves. And so I'm going to Washington to work on those issues. And because if we don't, we're going to lose our freedoms, our God-given constitutional freedoms. And we're passing on a debt and a lower standard of living to our kids and their kids. And we shouldn't be doing that. So that's what I'm fighting for. And if you want bigger government and more taxes, don't vote for me. But if you want to instill the confidence to get the private sector working again, vote for me, because I'm going to give that confidence back by working in the majority in Congress to lower the deficit, lower the tax burden and the regulatory burden, and get people back to work. So that's what I'm running about, and that's why I asked for your vote.
Thank you, Bob Gibbs. Lindsey Sutton, Constitutional Party. How do you make a case for voting to benefit the district and your constituents that is not based on political and party ideology?
I have a different opinion of what the representative job to the United States government is. The people of the Ohio 18th District, as far as the federal government is concerned, as far as the representative should be concerned, are Americans, number one. Those issues involve things at the state level, I believe, belong to the state. But you have rights as American citizens. And they're not any different over in West Virginia or in Indiana, regardless of what your economic circumstance may be. They're for everybody. And to make the case for why you should vote for people in your district, simple. They're Americans. They have a U.S. Constitution that protects them from their government. That's our job as representatives, not to bring goodies back to our district. Not to, it's not a, the old joke used to be, you see a guy, a candidate on the street corner, he's going to fix your potholes. That's not federal government level. We got potholes here, but why is it the federal government's job? Their job is to protect you. The federal government's job is to protect your individual rights. We all have them. We all cherish them. And we all keep giving them up to political entities that are run by other non-political entities, such as lobbyists, et cetera, typically for financial benefit. And the expense that those prices paid is generally our liberties. When I sat and watched for 6 hours last summer, and they had the debates, I think it was in the Senate Finance Committee, 6 hours, like I've got nothing better to do with my time. But when these senators were sitting there trying to decide how much Lindsey Sutton of Holmes County, Ohio was going to have to pay if he didn't buy health care, I thought, have we gone insane? Do our rights mean nothing anymore? So it's easy for me to go there and tell you that I will stand up for the rights of the American citizen, not to bring goodies back here, and not to argue with any party leadership.
We'll have to cut you. Thank you, Mr. Sutton. All right, Zack Space.
Thank you, Bob. Mr. Gibbs, really the last question and this question kind of bleed together, because in his last question he alluded to the suggestion that I somehow got a pass on the most contentious and hard-fought votes of the century from the Speaker of the House, which is nothing short of preposterous. But it's important to talk about that issue because it relates to the issue that's come up now, and that is adherence and loyalty to the people you represent versus your party. If you didn't know any better, you'd think if you watch the television commercials that are on out there right now, that I'm lockstep with Nancy Pelosi, who Mr. Gibbs is referring to. And the truth is I'm not. We differ on guns, on immigration, on healthcare, estate taxes, income taxes, coal. These are substantial issues that I've been willing to do what I have to do for my district. And I'm not going to lie to you, it's been a great deal of stress and difficulty in saying no to leadership. And Bob, you know about that. In fact, Bob Gibbs voted for the largest tax increase in Ohio history after he said he wouldn't vote for it. And the reason he voted for it was not because he thought it was good for Ohio. It was good for Ohio school children. It was because party leaders told him to. It doesn't get any more direct than that. We have far too much partisanship in Washington, D.C. The extremes are being represented in D.C., but the moderate part of America, which I think is 80% of America, is chronically underrepresented. I have tried to be a moderate, have tried to represent the interests of my district, and my conduct and my voting record, my achievements speak for themselves on that issue.
All right, thank you, Zack.